I think that one of the biggest reasons is that there's just so much stigma attached to it right now. People jump to blame the victim faster than they do the accuser. They're more likely to, if it's a friend that's being accused, say, well, he was a good guy. And they're more likely to try to find fault with the victim than the person who was accused. And this can really harshly affect a victim's life. And there are a lot of people who lose friends, lose significant others, can even become pariahs in their workplaces if it affects their job, if it's someone related to their workplace. So it's really a life-breaking thing just to report it. And we know that this is already something that's causing so much trauma for someone, so it's understandable why some people have a hard time reporting it.
Well, even if the victim is brave enough to speak up about that, that doesn't mean that the person that did that to them is going to get punished. So many cases of sexual assault get dropped for reasons like there's just no physical evidence of stuff like that. There usually never is. And if they think that the victim is lying, then that can affect them negatively. And so just when you really weigh it out, like, some just don't think it's worth it to speak up.
So I feel like they don't really come out because there's still like this stigma around sexual assault, and like people just don't believe victims. You know, it's always, there's like this type of toxic masculinity involved where it's like, oh, she probably wanted it, or like, you know, she said yes just because she said no, it isn't my fault, she said yes at first. So I think they're reluctant to come out because there's just like this negative stigma around sexual assault, and a lot of time there's a lot of like victim blaming and just really bad stuff involved with it. So people are just afraid of how, you know, their life's going to turn out, how people are going to think of them. Yeah, just negative.
Okay, I just think that people don't want to necessarily tell because saying it just means that they have to face their story, and that can be really hard for some people.
I think they're scared of their attacker not getting the correct sentence, and also the justice system and the way they deal with sexual assault right now. It can be scary going forward.
I think that especially in today's climate, it's easy to see why so many sexual assault victims don't come forward, because I think there's a fear of not being believed, and not even that, just a fear of what people will think in general. And I think that's easy to understand because a lot of times when they do come forward, depending on when they come forward, it can be seen as, if it's soon, it can be taken as like, okay, we need to get to the bottom of this and handle it right now, and it can be taken more of kind of like a police report instead of handling it with the victim's feelings in mind. And if they come forward later, then people will question, like, why didn't they say anything sooner, or did this really happen? Like, what do they have to gain from coming forward with this? So I think it all goes back to what other people will say about it when they do come forward.
I think there are a lot of different reasons, and obviously like no two people will have like the same reason, but I think like different people process like trauma differently, and sometimes if you've been through a really traumatic situation, you're just like not really ready to talk about it at that point. And also I think there's a lot of fear in that, like people won't believe you, or that they'll question you in like the whole process, especially if you want to press charges and take someone to court over it. It can be just really emotionally draining for the victim and stuff. And so I think there are a lot of different reasons, and a lot of it I think just has to do with trauma, and just also kind of the fear of not being believed.